Good afternoon, everybody. How are we all? I hope we're good. Hi to everyone that has seen me before, and to anyone that hasn't. Hi, my name's Bev. I'm from Bee Crafty, and today we're going to be doing some art journaling, and we're going to be doing some in my lovely Dilutions ledger journal. So we're going to wait and see a few people to join. If last but by no means least, Sammy, so she can do you any links of anything I'm using to the Bee Crafty website. If you have any questions of things I'm not covering, please ask. Sam will answer them, and if I see them, I will try to too. First of all, I'm going to apologise. I wasn't very well yesterday, and I sort of went down like a sinking ship, and I'm really, really tired. So if I start waffling, and I mean waffling more than usual, I mean we all know I have a normal amount of waffle that I do. I mean excessive. I do apologise for that. But you know, here we are. So I'm going to be, like I say, I'm going to be using my Dilutions ledger journal today. If you haven't seen these before, they're absolutely awesome. You've got, it's sort of like a square page format. There's 4 different styles of sort of ledger page on here. You have sort of like a wide ledger and a square, and you have a sort of finer ledger and a dot grid. Okay, and it's the fantastic Dilutions heavy stock, media stock that's in these as well. You get a lot of pages for your money. So if you are starting out, I do think the Dilutions journals do give you more pages. So they're a really good place to start. And the cardstock in them is a really good medium. It takes all your inks and all your sprays and all those sorts of things. So it's really forgiving. So it's a really great place to practice as well. Practice your techniques, maybe keep notes, and I've forgotten that word again. Swatches, things like that. Really, really good. I do have lots of other journals though, so you know, if there's any of those you'd like to see, please let me know. Today we're going to be working on, because I'm trying to with this journal. Now I haven't started at the front because that would just be too weird. But what I am trying to do is where I've started, sort of started somewhere in the middle. So I'm going to try and do all the pages around here and then just work in one direction or the other. So I'm always doing an adjoining page. So as you can see, I've got this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. So I figured if I do this one, that's a nice series of 6 all in a row. And then I can start adding in other ones after. Alright, today I'm going to be using some of the Bee Crafty Catalyst paper. If you haven't seen this before, these are sort of A4 size sheets of different prepared backgrounds on Japanese rice paper. Okay, so it's heavier than collage, like the Ranger collage paper or the Bee Crafty stamping tissue, but it's still quite easy to tear. You can tear it with water or whatever, and you can also ink on it and things like that. So these are really good, because the reason we call them catalyst papers is because they're a catalyst to your creativity. It gives you a starting point for colourways, and as you can see, some of them are really full and some of them have a bit more white space. Spoiler alert, Sam does the ones that have more white space. I do the ones that are just full. But that doesn't mean you can't add things onto them. For example, your Dilutions paints and all that will go on top of these, as well as your gloss sprays and things like that. So go and have a look. There are 4 different packs of 5. So they are on the website. Sam will do you a link. Oh look, there's one already. So this is, you can see this one. I have a few that, I'm not going to lie to you, they fell on the floor, and in my usual Beverly way, I just sort of carried on and ignored them, and they got a bit damaged and runkled. I mean, some survived better than others. But that's okay, because it means that I do have some scrap pieces to use, and I do rip them up a lot to use anyway. So for example, the yellow stripes on here are one. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to tear this on the diagonal. I sort of want a diagonal, really higgledy-piggledy line, so that's great. It's because I'm going to start in that corner there, and then I'm going to basically do a straightish line was there, so I've got that square bit for later, and we're going to put that on that corner, okay? Because what I don't like to do in my ledger journal is cover up all the ledger, okay? Because it will resist slightly as well, so it will show through if you're using Dilutions ink and stuff like that, okay? So it's really fun to use. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use some, collage medium to stick that down. This is my very nearly empty pot. I think it is actually time to say goodbye, but you know, look at that, there's still some there. To put this down, so I'm just going to use my collage medium on the corner here, put that down, and then go over the top as well. Okay, so the good thing about, obviously, with your catalyst papers is where they are white or very much lighter in colour, if you have a choice with these, they can stay opaque or they can actually go quite translucent if you get the back quite wet. And you can do that with water as well as with your collage medium, which means you can, there are some white media papers on the website, and you'll see those. So if you wanted, for example, to make them translucent to go through, you can. It's not done. I refuse to yield. I do have a new one. It's not because I don't have a new one. There's the new one. There's the old one. Look at that, you see? I have a tendency to not put lids back on properly. So I don't like to open something new until I'm... Okay, so we're going to leave that on there. Now, what I was saying was, see, I'm even going to put the lid back on in the hope that I can get something else out of there in a second. Okay. I don't know if this is going to show up on the camera, so I'm going to hold it quite still. You can see where the white on there, you can actually see the ledger coming through on the edge a little bit. I don't know if that's showing up on camera. I hope so. So it sort of brings the back and front together, if you see what I mean. Okay. Oh, I am sorry. News update with Bev. I'll turn that off. I am sorry. Sorry, newsflash. A little bit embarrassing. Right, I'm going to skip ahead because today I also want to be using a transparency sentiment. This is going to be quite quick art journaling today. We're going to rattle on through it. So we're going to be using some of the Transparencies words. And I'm going to go for Incredible. Now, this is a really big thing for me. And I'll tell you for why. Because I tend to change plan or adjust the plan or whatever at least 3 times before I get to the end. So committing to the end when I've barely begun is a very big deal. But I'll show you why. These words do also come with, like, so they're in black and the writing is the clear. Okay. If I was more prepared, I could show you that. In fact, I will show you that. Let me get my Transparencies folder. There you go. So that's them with the black and the writing is the clear bit. Okay. And the reason I'm doing this now is because I want to. I haven't decided. I think I'm going to use. Yeah, I will. I'm going to use the new Dina Wakley gloss drops. Now, these are new in, and I've only really just started using them for different things. You have to give them a shake. If you're familiar with Dina Wakley gloss sprays, okay, these are basically the same thing, but these are some new colours. But they're now they've now got a dropper applicator instead of the spray, which works brilliantly for me because of the aforementioned not putting lids on things properly. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to turn this over, which I have already done, as you can see. And I'm going to use the gloss drops on the back. So that is the Stoked. And then I'm going to go in with the Gnarly Yellow. And then I'm I'm going to go on with some of the Radical Orange. So these are really awesome, vivid neons. Okay. You can see though, they're still a bit translucent. You can still see that word through there, can't you? And I'm not going right to the edge, because we don't need to. And then I'm just going to leave that to dry, which hopefully it will do by the time we need to put it on. Okay. So what I was doing there is also giving that a little chance to dry. So I'm going to move that to the side and get my heat tool. And we're just going to encourage this to dry a little bit quicker. Okay. So the thing with the Catalyst papers is, like I say, they just give you a leaping off point. If you don't know what colours to pick or something like that, they just give you a way to go. So it's sort of given me these pinks and yellows and oranges to work with. So going from the gloss drops, the two colours I've decided to go with in terms of paint are Lemon Zest and Tropical Sangria, because I think the Tropical Sangria goes really well with the Stoked. So I think that's all going to work quite nicely. And like I say, I've got the lemon drop for those. So I'm just going to give those a quick shake up. And I'm going to grab the Circles Inkables big one. And we're going to add on some inkable work. Okay, so I'm going to go with, there's my Lemon Zest. And then my Tropical Sangria, and I'm just working on a small blending mat here, and I'm going to go for these using a blending tool. Okay, so I'm going to go in, I'm going to work some of that paint in here. I'm going to go straight on. We're just gonna go for it. Let's just add on loads of beautiful circles. Okay, then we're going to lift that off. I was going to do the same one for the Tropical Sangria, but well, do you know what? We're going to find something else. Let's go for, oh, maybe some abstract. I think the abstract will be quite nice. Hello, Caroline. So, do you know what? I'm just going to go straight over the top and use the same foam. Just work my Tropical Sangria into the foam. Like that. Let's go for the smaller end. Ooh. That's coming out ever so nice. I like that. And because I've mixed it sort of with the lemon zest a little, it is taking it to a sort of neon-y orange stage, which sort of brings in the orangey colours from the background. Oh, I love it. Okay. So from here, we're going to add in... How are you drying, my sweet? I feel like this is something I should have prepared earlier. But that's alright. Now from here, what we're going to do is we're going to add some drip work using the droppers straight from the bottles. Okay. But I did one the other day coming from the top. So I'm going to do this one, I think, coming from the side. So let's shake these all up. Okay, Very similar to when you're using the gloss sprays. You should shake them up every time you use them, because they do separate and settle ever so quickly. Okay. Alrighty, so we're going to go in with the gnarly yellow first. I'm going to and then I'm going to go in with the stoked. And I just feel that the dropper applicators are much more suitable for me, and how I want to apply it. And like I say, I was saying when I did try it out Tuesday with these on the Bee Crafty page, the problem I have is I absolutely love the gloss sprays. I think the medium is beautiful to work with, but I'm not very good at keeping the nozzles clean, and it's absolutely essential. So with the droppers, I just feel like... So I'm going to be buying more droppers for my other gloss sprays so that I can apply them this way. And you can sort of... But again, if you look... Make sure your lids are on tight. They do sort of have this sort of translucent quality, so you can still see the ledger and underneath. But the differences between these and something like inks, okay, is these will dry glossy, okay? They do dry for that gloss. Now, if you'll see, your Dilutions paints have also got quite an opaque, translucent look to them as well. But if you want them, but they can be both, and you can apply more and make them stronger. When you're applying with a blending tool, that gives you sort of quite a nice light coverage and is really good for going all over. So it's just a case of playing with them and getting what you want. Wow. How can you not love that? It's absolutely stunning. Now, these are acrylics, so if you're going to, do not force them dry. It's actually not recommended that you heat them at all. But we're on a time limit and I'm in a well-ventilated room. Back door is open. And whatever. So I'm going to encourage them. But I would recommend you just leave them to air dry. You'll get a better gloss finish as well. I'm just going to start encouraging them. We'll see how we go. Okay, so we'll leave that to dry a second. I'm just going to check on my transparency. Yeah, that's going to take ages to dry with the amount I put on there. So I might have to do a picture later, seeing what that looks like with that on. Okay. I'm not patient. I can't wait. I can't either, Sharon. I'm totally with you, my love. Okay. So I want to add, so my image, my focus image I'm going to be using today is one of the Dancing Daisy that I made on Tuesday and tried out Tuesday on the Bee Crafty page. And this is actually coloured using the acrylic drops. Okay? So, now, if you look on these, it does just say gloss, okay? But because the gloss sprays have been how they are up until now, I've called them gloss drops just so that people can, you know, if you're on our website, you can see which is which. You can see one's a spray and one's a drops. That's why. But, okay, so these you can mix with water and paint with them. You can mix with water and make them more movable. You can mix them with gesso. You can mix them with texture paste. You can do all of that when they're wet, okay? As soon as they are dry, they are dry. That's it. There is no moving them. They're set, okay? Now, that can be a really good thing, because if you're creating a background with these, and you create the background, and then you want to add something over the top, you don't have to worry about it reactivating, okay? So that, for me, that can be quite a positive thing, all right? But what it does mean as well, let's just skip. I'm going off on a tangent again, just in case anyone was concerned. I don't think you are, but you know. Say, for example, you're like, well, I want to add some texture paste, but I want it to be, sorry, I can't remember the names yet, in the Super Duper Stoked Pink. All right? Well, spoiler alert, it isn't going to be in the Super Duper Stoked Pink, okay? Because obviously the white of my grit paste is going to have an effect on that. But what that does mean is you can create some awesome, almost, for want of a better description, pastel neons, if you know what I mean, using these and white gesso. All right? So that is a thing that can happen. So that's quite exciting. So what we're going to do is we're going to put some of our acrylic drops on top of our grit paste. And we're going to so yeah, you're not going to get the same stoked pink because obviously it's white mixed with pink, which makes a paler pink. So what you could do, you see, is create a grit paste that's somewhat similar. Okay, just go with this again. Oh, that went a bit liquidy and I moved the template. But you get the gist. Oh, hello. And you can dab up the excess, okay? For example, what I might do with my words here is get some stamping tissue. And pick up some of the excess. I won't leave it on there because, like I say, once this is dry, it is just acrylic. So it will stay stuck to it, which would in no way be the end of the world. Dry. Okay. Now this I am allowed to encourage dry. Those glosses are getting there. That bit's dry. That is actually a really nice pastel pink. That bit wasn't. Okay. So back to where I was. How are these? They're getting there. Alright. So I'm going to use my small word stamp. Okay. But I'm not going to use it. I'm not going to use the individual words. Okay. I just want to bring in a little bit of black to the background because my image is stamped in black. So, in my opinion, it's not everyone's opinion and it doesn't need to be yours. in my opinion, I just need something black in the background to try and bring that forward a little. So I'm just going to lightly ink up the stamps. I'm not even going to take them off their acetate. It doesn't matter if they're all stamped properly. Okay. And we're just going to stamp on. Over the top. And just to create that sort of... Now, I have got some texture paste in that on here. That's absolutely fine. It is not the end of the world. However, I am going to rectify it quite quickly. Because again, if your glazes are wet, they're completely movable. I'm just going to spritz that with water. And clean it off with my painty towel. Because it's the quickest way to do it. Just get the excess off and then I'll clean them properly after, she says. And most of you know that I won't. But I am trying to be better. You know. I think this is the cleanest these stamps have been since I opened them. I'm a big believer in the more you use stamps, the better they get. So if I am just using ink, I tend to just leave them. I do. I do. Just one of them things, isn't it? Okay. Now, I can't decide which side to put my flower. I was thinking the other side, but I'm actually liking how it looks there. Okay. Right. Transparency print is actually drying. It's not quite dry, but I don't think it has to be. I'm thinking put the transparency print there, so almost along the pink seam, and the acrylic gloss on the back will actually stick it to the page. I won't have to add any other adhesive to that. Okay. And then I'm going to use some Collage Matte Medium, the very last, in this tub. And then I think I have to admit that it is empty. Okay. What did you do with my spatula? Here we go. And I'm going to go right around the corners. Look, there's loads. Might not be my last one. Yeah, seriously, that's not going to be my last one. Not even sorry. Well, you can't, you know. Collage medium it's hot property, isn't it? And there is my doodle art dancing daisy on there as well. I absolutely love it. We can't waste it, can we, Sharon? Absolutely not. Why, thank you, Shazza. I quite like it as well. So, yes. Art journaling. If you haven't started art journaling and you'd love to give it a go, do so. If you'd like to start art journaling and you're like, I very much like Bev's journal or book, that's very nice, but I'm not willing to commit to a new journal just yet, then don't you worry. I've got a couple of lives on here, and they've also been transferred to the Bee Crafty YouTube channel as well, using a notebook as well. So if you fancy giving it a go, but you're not ready to invest in a book, that's totally fine. In fairness, 9 times out of 10, I like to buy paint instead as well. You can do that. You can use a notebook. like I say, I've done several on it. I've done lives in here, and they're all on our website as well. I've done a few more on the Bee Crafty page, so go and check that out. Thank you so much for joining me today and not giving up on me despite... I can't even think of the word for really tired. What's the word for really tired? Fatigue! Fatigue-induced waffle. I very much appreciate it for you sticking with me. Alright then, guys. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic rest of your week. If you're into sewing, the lovely Hayley is up later on this evening here in Crafting Together with All Brands. But if I could ask, if you popped over to the Bee Crafty YouTube channel and give us a little subscribe, that would be fantastic. Or pop over to the Bee Crafty Facebook page and give us a little follow on there. All helps, all helps. All right then, guys. Thank you so much. Bye.